Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good morning to all the viewers. I am Hiral Dadia. Clearly, if you see the kind of up move that we saw in yesterday's session, slowly, steadily, we are seeing a recovery that's coming in at this hour as well from the negative. We've just managed to turn slightly positive as we speak. We're trading little above the 19,800 level. The advanced decline ratio is still skewed in favor of the bears, but whether we see that buying coming in and in the last hour of trade, like we saw in yesterday's session, is going to be interesting to watch out for. A lot of movers and shakers in trade today, but let's just quickly look at Bank Nifty as well, because participation from Bank Nifty as well as the IT index is going to be absolutely crucial for us to scale to newer heights. In fact, the key question that everyone is watching out for answers to is when will Nifty 50 hit the 20,000 milestone? That's going to be crucial, how many trading sessions it will take as well. But that's something which we'll have to keep watching out for. Let's first welcome in Prakash Gupta, founder at Dhan. Jay, good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi, Hiral. Good morning.
Jay, let's start with a couple of key names. First is Reliance Industries. We've already seen the price discovery that has happened on the back of the merger for Reliance Industries as well as Reliance, the Geo Financial Services. Firstly, what is your view on a RIL now at current levels? And secondly, with regards to the price discovery that has happened for the financial services arm, what would you advise?
Well, Hiral, Reliance is the most talked about stock for today. We have been keenly watching the developments here, but the pricing which has settled, it's I believe it's a value unlocking for the investors of Reliance. There is tremendous scope the way Reliance has transformed itself from a petrochemical giant to a new age business and also getting into financial services. The whole idea is that they want to have this arm's length distance from a lot of companies which the group has. For financial services business, I think Reliance is one of the late entrants here, and the whole ecosystem of lending business has changed in India over the last few years. The question of NPAs, the question of lending to retail investors, the security for lending companies has gone up because of a lot of regulations, and with the kind of reach, with the kind of their own subsidiary companies which has got a huge client base with a retail footfall, I think the company is just born not only with 1.5 lakh crore of net worth but also a wider business which would eventually translate and will help Reliance shareholders in coming times. So I think there's nothing wrong with Reliance. Rather, it looks a very attractive opportunity with the kind of diversification they are doing. For investors, my advice would be just be with Reliance, and there's a lot of value unlocking which lies ahead in the future.
Right, so value unlocking in the future is something that everyone is eyeing as well. Moving on, you have HDFC Bank also that is in focus, and this is post the merger. Now, taking the way the stock has moved after the listing that happened, after the merged entity started trading on the 17th, at current levels, what would you advise investors to do with the HDFC Bank, Jay?
Well, here we'll see the numbers were really encouraging. We have seen the consistency from HDFC for years now, and with 30% growth, 20% plus PAT, I think it all speaks about the management and the quality of the company. I think they have a very bright prospect. I don't see anything wrong there. For investors, I think continue holding. It's a great story, and the way as I was telling, in the financial service space, in the banking space, the whole risk of lending has gone down drastically because of various provisions. Today, a borrower is more concerned while he takes a loan that whether will be able to repay or not. That also adds a lot of positivity on the banking and NBFC space. And with the kind of book size they have and the quality of book, I don't see any issue coming, and IT and banking are going to be the sectors which would lead from the front, as we are also going to witness 20,000 soon. I think there's nothing wrong. One should continue holding the stock.
Right. Moving on, Hatsun Agro reported numbers and a strong up move coming in on the margin profile. The stock is also seeing double-digit gains in today's session. Would you advise investors to book profits, the ones who are holding it, or not? And secondly, someone who is looking to enter a company like Hatsun Agro, is it still a good number to enter?
Well, Hiral, I don't track
Yes, I missed
it
that you don't
closely.
track Hatsun Agro. Right. I think we'll go to the next one. You have a Bajaj Hindustan, which is seeing some moves in today's session. What's your view on the sugar pack?
We are seeing a positive move across sugar pack. I think primarily due to the reason that there is likely to be a fall in yield because of unseasonal rains and higher rainfall. And there is also a ethanol blend story, which is also adding to the momentum. I think that this is a momentum play, and it looks like that all the sugar pack stocks would do well, and Bajaj Hindustan is also one of them, expecting around 15-20% or more upside across the sector from here on.
Right. Moving on, you have a Dr. Reddy's. Now, because of no observations at their Sri Kakulam plant, the stock is seeing some smart moves in today's session. What's your view on a Dr. Reddy's?
Right here also, so the immediate momentum which the stock has, it has hit 52-week high, is because of no observation which was which the recently the inspection was conducted. Apart from that, there are also a couple of positive news. The company has signed an agreement to buy 26% stake in a SPV called O2 Renewable Energy. That news came last week. Apart from that, their numbers, sales numbers have grown. The strong performance in the US market is also helping the company. They acquired a new company called Main Pharma, and we are seeing a better traction in certain generic drugs like Suboxone and Revlimid. So overall, Pharma Pack looks attractive, and for Dr. Reddy's, I believe the coming quarters are also likely to be good, a good stock to be in.
Right. Moving on, Infosys is expected to report numbers in today's session. What's your key takeaway that you would be watching out for, and what would you advise investors to do on Infosys?
Well, Hiral, see, we have seen that Infosys IT pack has been a laggard, in this entire rally. The stocks, most of the IT stocks did not perform, but we are seeing some kind of positivity coming in last 15 odd days. We have seen large names giving around 10 to 12% of returns in a month's time. For Infosys, the $2 billion deal which they have signed for an AI business, that's a positive, and we have seen almost 10% plus rise in the stocks in last 1 month. I think the result would be crucial because it's coming at a time when there's a lot of pessimism in the Western world about their guidance, about how the new business is going to be. Apart from that, most of the large IT names have not given salary hikes, so that also to some extent helps the company because they'll be able to curtail costs there. But it's very important to hear what the management has to say for the coming quarters. But overall, I believe IT as a sector has got a lot of potential. It's just a negative phase which the whole sector is passing through. For companies like Infosys, there's no question of corporate governance. They have got enough of cash reserves. The cash flow is positive. The sector is for India. I think the tech dividend is something which the whole world admires, and companies like Infosys, TCS, and HCL Techs and Wipros of the world would obviously be the beneficiary with the kind of financial muscle they have. I think the sector is looking good for the long term. For the short term, it's important that you hear out what the management has to say to decide what would be your entry level in the stock.
Right. Another one that will be reporting earnings is a HUL. What's your expectation in today's session?
Well, you'll see for last quarter, I believe, the inflation has cooled down in India. Okay, that would obviously help the margins. Also, the sales number is expected to do well. I think the number should be positive. I have good expectations from HUL, and let's see what the management has to declare.
Okay. Moving on, in terms of other names, Krsnaa Diagnostics is trading under pressure, and this is on the back of the loss in contract and business in the state of Rajasthan. How are you looking at Krsnaa Diagnostics, and what would you advise investors to do? Is it a good opportunity to buy with the kind of correction that we're seeing in today's session, or how are you seeing the prospects?
See, for Diagnostic, Hiral, I believe the company works on a very unique model, which is a PPP kind of model. On a diagnostic business, there's a lot of competition post COVID. The sales numbers have dipped. Okay, but for them the advantage is that 50% and more business comes from a radiology. And while you do business through a PPP model, you have a pricing which is already fixed, and that helps a company, in maintaining some kind of margin. So I don't see anything wrong in the stock as of now. Maybe I think in this current fall, this is not going to impact their existing business. I think one should look into the stock because the numbers are good and the kind of business they have, radiology business has got higher margins, and that contributes to almost 50% of the company's turnover, as I already said that. So I don't see any harm in the stock. This correction can be looked at as a buying opportunity.
Right. Another one which has been trading under pressure, Jay, is transformers and rectifiers, as the client has slapped a 3-year ban for alleged forgery with regards to the clearance certificate. What would this mean from a company perspective, and what would you advise someone who's holding a transformers and rectifiers to do?
Well, Hiral, in today's time, a question on the integrity and on the governance is really a serious issue. And if certain a vendor has put, and that to an entity which is Gujarat Energy Transmission Corporation, there is something to be seriously looked into. I believe for any investor, the times we are in, a company where the question on governance, where the question on forging and cheating kind of thing comes, I think the investor should, a long-term investor should stay away from these stocks. So I won't have any positive thing to say about the stock as of now. Maybe we can hear what the management clarification has to say. Till that point of time, I think the company should be avoided.
Right. And the last one I want to talk to you about, a PNC Infra, which is seeing some smart moves there as they've executed concession agreements for 3 new HAM projects, and this is with NHAI. Infrastructure has been in focus as well. What's your view on a PNC Infra?
Well, it looks like a momentum play because they have got contracts. The contracts is of a substantial size, 3,264 odd crores. The stock is showing positive signs because of that. But again, on the whole infra space, there are other players also, and the company really has to ensure that these kind of order flows also come in the future. For a momentum play, it looks good. For a long-term view, I have my reservations on the stock.
Right, so that's with regards to PNC Infra. Thank you, Jay, so much for joining us on the show and giving us those views in terms of stocks that we've already discussed. But clearly, if you see in terms of markets, as of now, it's a pretty somber day of trade. But what happens in the last hour is going to be interesting because it is weekly expiry as well. You still have, the Sensex, which is maintaining to stay above those 67,000 levels. And it's mainly ITC, Sun Pharma, Reliance Industries, and the IndusInd Bank, which is on the positive side of it. In fact, from a contribution perspective, also, if you go to see, it's mainly Reliance as well as Infosys coming in there. Overall, if you see in terms of other stock-specific action, let's just quickly look at the broader markets also and see what the names are looking like. Newgen is up around 12.5%. Bajaj Hindustan is seeing some smart gains. Hatsun Agro on the back of earnings is up 7.5%. CET has started the upward journey once again in today's session. On the losing end, a 6 to 7% downtick coming in terms of ABB, and that's going to be an interesting one to watch out for as well. In fact, ABB Global has said that 7% growth is what they're looking at in terms of order inflows for India business in the April to June 2023 quarter, and that's something which is actually putting that pressure in terms of where ABB is concerned in today's session. So again, a lot of stock-specific action is what we're witnessing in trade as we speak. But whether a pickup happens in the last hour of trade on the back of expiry is something we need to wait and watch. And, a lot of action that could be lined up in terms of July expiry itself. That's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching, and lots more lined up on the other side. Please stay tuned to BQ Prime.